So it's Raquel, and it's Recovery to Wellness here. So it's currently July 12th, 2022, and I was just watching over one of the videos I filmed last week, because last week was the 4th, right? Yeah. So I watched over the first video, which was like a smorgasbord life update. Like, it was just a bunch of different topics, and I mentioned in the video that I was going to do separate videos on each one topic, and my hair's just everywhere. So anywho, last week, a lot happened, and I had filmed a various subject matter video, and I also filmed, I edited and I uploaded a singing catharsis, no context kind of thing. And I got a lot of feedback on it, and that was fantastic, and thank you so much. And I also have, like, I think I filmed like 5 parts in total at least, so I have a bunch of other ones to edit and kind of get out and about and all that. Also, in the timeline of life, I have gone back to work twice now, so I have done 2 shifts, so honestly, helps so much. With everything else that was happening, it helps so much. So I really want to actually talk about the shit that went down last week that I was very hesitant to talk about online, and I'm gonna focus on me again and what's going on with me. I've wanted to film it other times, just it was very traumatic, and yeah, so I want to just talk about it, and you know, obviously I won't go into all of the details and everything, but I do want to talk about it and address it because it's important. And I have other videos that I can do further, again, how to cope with the breakup kind of thing, those types of videos, because I honestly have like 20 tabs open on my laptop, plus hundreds of tabs open on my phone. Not all of them relating to breakup things, but a lot of them. I think I filmed a couple other ones of the things that got me through the breakup, because I think I mentioned a couple quotes that I found, and then I have other quotes that I also found, so it's a whole smorgasbord. It's a whole thing. It's a whole saga, honestly. So yeah, what do I want to talk about? So I want to say how, the first video that I filmed before the catharsis videos had, here, let me close my door a little bit. There was, so when I filmed the sort of variety life update, things had not gotten worse. So it got worse after that. And it was also, I think, a little bit before some of the cathartic videos, and then definitely later with other more cathartic videos. So what happened? I just felt really traumatized, and it was a very toxic breakup. Not toxic relationship, it was a healthy relationship, but it was a very toxic breakup, and it was just so unnecessary in many aspects. And I know, like, in the video where I filmed sort of the life update stuff, like, I talked about how, and I am going to continue to do that moving forwards, be more careful and measured and considerate of what I'm saying, and also have other people outside of myself weigh in on the situation before I publicize things relating to more like in real life relationships, in a sense. So that is something that I did take away from it. That's a good thing. Other things that I took away from it, I want nothing to do with this, my ex, at all, ever again. It completely obliterated any, and I had started to, you know, come to the point where I was kind of like, oh, maybe I can film the nice things about our relationship, and, like, you know, their good qualities, because of course they had them and such. Everybody does. With what happened last week, I want nothing to do with, and I have no intention of ever wanting to, or thinking of it, or imagining, or nothing. So that's also another good thing that came out of it, because now I'm not disillusioned by what the relationship was, because how a relationship ends is also really important to how the relationship, you know, exists in that space before that, you know, ending of a relationship. And, like, for me, who I saw in our relationship is a whole different person to who I'm seeing in the breakup. And I don't want anything to do with it. It's honestly very isolating. It's very isolating. It's very controlling. Just a lot. It's a lot of demanding and scolding for how I'm expressing what I'm going through online. And largely it's the fact that I'm doing it online. But like, and yes, there are things that I can improve on and sort of saturate down and, you know, sort of titrate down into the future. That's something I learned for sure. Ultimately, though, it is sort of a, you can say this, you can't say that, you should say this, you shouldn't say that, leave me out of it entirely, and like, you're not allowed to heal in this way, but if you need to use it, you can, but also you shouldn't talk about me, and like, a lot of very confusing things. Like, I was definitely in shock for a few days. Again, like I said, I felt traumatized because I honestly, it was the moment I got the message from them, when it first started, like the night before, it was like everything just came crashing down around me, and I was right back in March, like when we first broke up, and it was like everything was just there, and I was like, holy shit, and I was like panicking, and I was freaking out, and I felt like they were trying to push me away from using any of my outlets, like online especially, or even like, you know, my friends and things like that. So I felt, and eventually I told my mom about it the next day on the 4th. And then we talked extensively about it, and it was a whole thing. And I talked about it with my therapist. I talked a lot about it, so, like, honestly, I talked a lot about it. But, I just felt very, like, isolated, and, like, not only was the fact that the narrative that I was telling online was a way for me to actually talk about it, but then I was told that the way I was talking about it wasn't enough either, and I had to even do less of what I was doing. And it was like, for me, I was just like, so pretty much don't talk about it at all, as if legitimately the whole year never happened, and then all of this stuff wasn't happening, which makes me feel like I'm trying to put up a front or lie about it, which I'm not comfortable doing, and it was just really, it was a lot, and I didn't have work. I mean, I think my ex knew, based on the fact that they were watching my videos, they knew that I was sick with COVID, so maybe that is why they decided to reach out at that point, because they're like, oh good, like her defenses are down, like we can just, you know, jump into that. So I don't know for sure, but it was a lot of like, this is hurting me, like them, this is hurting me. It just made me feel really small and like cut off from all the ways I was trying to cope with the trauma that they caused. And I'm trying to heal from the trauma that they caused. And then a lot of it too was a lot of them saying, like, you know, my side deserves to be heard, and my viewers, you guys, are not only seeing how I perceive the situation, which again, how I perceive a situation, how my ex perceives a situation, and how the world perceives a situation is all very different because of our own experiences and what's formed and shaped us into who we are today, in a sense. So perception is a huge issue in a sense, but I don't know, my ex was just, it was a lot, it was just a whole lot, and just trying to, I felt just trying to isolate me in the sense of, you know, me and them should talk only about it and, like, you know, express what we need to express, and they used a lot of past tense stuff, and it was very strange. It happened, I was right back into March. It's like all the healing I did over the, like, 4 months before then didn't happen, and then I was having, like, suicidal thoughts, and I was having more so self-harm thoughts. Came pretty close to self-harming, I think, like scratching. Luckily for me, I guess, I only want to do it on my arm, so because I'm, like, not able to do it on my arm, I just won't do it at all. Like, that's kind of where my all or nothing comes in. I honestly didn't fall asleep that night until 4 a.m. because we had agreed that we were gonna talk on the phone at like 5:30 the next day, on Monday. So I didn't fall asleep until 4. I was constantly texting Mike at like 2 in the morning, like, I'm so confused, like, trying to figure it out, and, you know, he was saying, like, if I wanted to do it, that's fine, but he was also saying, like, if it's gonna impact your mental health in a bad way, then don't do it. Like, don't have that conversation, just, you know, even though I said, yeah, I agreed with my ex to talk, like, my and everyone was like, no, like, if it's not good for your mental health, don't do it. And ultimately, that's what I wound up deciding. Because I was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can be safe in either way of the situation, how it goes, if my ex says that they've been struggling, or my ex says that they've been fine, or whatever. So I wound up re-editing one of my videos, which had a lot of offhand kind of comments, but I mean, I guess that makes sense. So I was like, okay, fine. So I took those stuff out. So I go to sleep at 4. I wake up later that day, and I wound up telling my mom about it, and we went into a huge discussion about it. And my mom was really mad. You know, there was a lot of stuff that went on with that. And then later, by like 4:30, I started filming those singing catharsis videos, because I was freaking the fuck out because my deadline was coming up, and I'm like, and I was like, I can't do it, and it's a bad idea. So I crafted a message for my ex saying essentially that I just, you know, I'm a hop out, and like, don't look at my stuff if it's triggering kind of thing, and like, for your own good and my own good, and everything to that effect. And there was a moment I was outside with my mom, and Molko was outside too, and we were out on the back swing, and it was sunny out, it was warm, the trees, there was a little bit of a breeze and everything, and there was a moment that I had sent the message, like a 10-minute window maybe, and it was a moment I had sent the message, and I was kind of just like, this is very peaceful, and like, things are gonna be okay, and I've said my piece now, and everything's gonna be fine. And then I got a message back, and then I was like, the piece, it went away. I'm like, boom, it's gone. Okay, I'm back on the roller coaster. Like, it was a wild ride. I did not like this roller coaster. I did not like it. Never want to be on it again. It was wild. And I didn't reply to the last message. It was, again, a lot of like, I don't know, it was really weird, because then my ex was saying things to the effect of like, oh, well, if we break off contact, we have to go completely no contact. I can't have you texting me either later. And I'm like, I never texted you to begin with. It was like, it was just weird, because at one part they'd be condemning me for not reaching out as I had said that I would, which I don't remember saying, but I also don't remember saying a lot of things. So they were mad that I hadn't reached out, and then they were sad about it, so they reached out to me. But then they were like, well, if we don't like maintain contact, we either talk or we don't talk, don't reach out to me. But I was like, I never reached out to you to begin with. Like, I think it was understandable that like we were not going to talk, like, because I obviously apparently didn't reach out within the timeline, and then also I never did, and then I even said it in videos where I was, like, the videos that I had filmed and stuff, I had said, like, I'm not going to reach out to them, and, like, I wasn't going to tell them the things that they've learned about me from the video that they watched, which upset them, which they continue to watch when it upset them. It was, like, and when I said, like, the phrase, I'm responsible for my own recovery, I don't mean that in, like, I didn't mean that in, like, a breakup related fashion. I meant that more as in genuinely, like, I am responsible for my own recovery. Whether I choose a healthy action or I choose an unhealthy action, if I choose to continue watching something that upsets me versus choosing to take care of myself in a different way, and even if I do choose to watch something that is unhealthy for me, how do I handle whatever that brings up in a healthier way thereafter? So for instance, with Athena, I still check up on her at times. Usually once I finish checking up on Athena, I wind up going to eat ice cream or Doritos or whatever. Like, I do something to kind of combat what stimuli I took in a sense. It's just a whole, I don't even know. Like, and just, again, like, my side deserves to be heard, which is like, okay, great, like, you go do it on your platforms. As long as I'm not doxing or linking you directly, I mean, yes, there are some aspects I did fuck up on, and I think that I needed to edit and better handle in the future. I agree with that. But ultimately, yeah, like, if you want to talk about it on your platforms, you go ahead. I don't have those platforms. I don't give a shit. Well, I'm never gonna know about it. Like, genuinely never gonna know. And then they were also like, it was weird too, because they were like, oh, so you checked up on my stuff, which I only did once, and that was 3 months later than when we broke up. And I did it once, And they were like, well, apparently you've been watching my content and you don't have a right to that information. And I'm like, okay, then you don't, same applies to you, to me. Like, you don't have a right to the information that I'm saying on my channel about me. It was just a headache, honestly. It was just so unnecessary and so unhealthy. And like, what was the point? There was no point to it. There was genuinely no point to it. It fucked with my mental health for a few days, and you know, it still kind of fucks with me. Like, definitely the OCD for me grabbed onto that and was loop taping that so much, and I've been self-gaslighting, and I've been doubting myself, and I've been honestly just like, because I don't recognize this person anymore. And I think there's a thing, when you don't recognize someone, you no longer know what they're capable of, and that's very scary. A whole narrative that can fling free from this, and it's not good. And now I'm sort of afraid, have to be afraid or be careful what I say, particularly online. And I kind of get it too, but it's just very confusing. It was very confusing. It was very traumatizing, which I don't mean to use that word, like, but it was a trauma in a sense, because then I was left with all of these thoughts, all of these emotions. I didn't want to feel those emotions, and how do I not feel those emotions? Well, if I self-harm, maybe I can not feel it, or if I go act on a thought, maybe I won't feel it. You know, it was a lot of that, and it was a lot of like, I'm not working right now, so I only can have time to perseverate on it. And then also it really took away like my voice in a sense, because then I felt like I couldn't even film videos and edit them and put them out right away, because then I was like being scrutinized for what I was saying online and trying to cope in the way that I knew how and how I heal from something someone else did to me in a sense. And it's like, and then there was also the aspect too that I had been at fault, that I didn't allow us together to have a discussion about the whole breakup and everything, and it doesn't make sense to me, because even some of the information they told me about, that they were like, the breakup wasn't sudden, it was a well thought out thing, like that doesn't help me at all. Like, for instance, not saying this is what happened, but if someone breaks up with you and they're like, yeah, I was gonna break up with you 3 months ago, but I just like continued on with the relationship and like never told you about it, and then I just decided we're gonna break up, like, that's a lot different, and it's just unnecessary information, because what does that do? Like, why say that? Why have that last dig in? Like, what is the purpose? I don't, unless it's just a hurt, just to, oh, I'm hurting, therefore I'm gonna hurt you. Like, me just trying to spin it back onto myself right now. Like, I was just very confused, very isolated, very like, even what I was doing online trying to talk about it wasn't enough, and I need to talk even less about it. And I don't know how to like pretend I'm okay when I'm not okay, you know? And like, how do I not talk about something that's so negatively impacting me, especially on my space of the internet where I can talk about it? Like, it was really fucked up. I apologize for things I really, honestly, I don't think there was, I watched back another one of those videos, the one that I had uploaded, and I didn't really find that much issue with it. So it's like, and some of them I'm gonna re-edit and everything, but I'm gonna put them back up online. But like, even that, like, it was too much. It was honestly too much, and I was like so shaken up about it, and the good things that I got out of it is like that idealization of them completely gone. I never wanted anything to do with them, and I still think responsibility, especially in recovery, but even just people being accountable and responsible for themselves, is going to be a huge thing for a requirement that I need in relationships in the future. And yeah, it was a lot of this and then that. I went to work on Friday. A lot of people, I honestly was still pretty shaken up about it. I talked to some of my coworkers about it, which was helpful, and that was good. I got some, you know, validation and support around it, which was helpful. And yeah. So that was that. I can say too that now that I've been working a couple more times, it's so nice to be at work and to have to deal with other people's stuff and not have to be reminded of my own stuff or have it loop around in my head and everything. So that's been super helpful, and things will get better and things will progress from here, and I just have to kind of go along for it and just kind of know that it's not going to last forever, which is important because it won't, and you know, it'll be okay. And the more time I can get to not have it be on the forefront of my mind, I'm trying to end this video now, the more I can get it to not be on the forefront, then the more I can, I have no idea where that went. The more that I can move on and go on to the next phase of life. Ultimately, yeah, I mean, I think I'm starting to figure it out. I'm starting to get through it. And thank you for listening to me rant and listening to me talk and genuinely just listening to me anytime I talk. And I really appreciate that. And it means a lot. So thank you. And I will have more videos out in the future. I do have work Thursday and then Saturday, Sunday, just so we're aware. But yeah, I'm gonna film another video right now too. So as always, thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll probably edit this down a few bits because there's some parts I have to take out. But thank you, and as always, stay safe, take care, be well. Much love and light to you, and I will see you soon. Bye.
I can see a lighthouse through the smoke. Everything is lost, I know.
To put up... Oh god. What happened? I think I spit at the camera. I'm so sorry. Oh no! No! Oh my gosh. Here, let me clean it. I am so sorry. Ready for it? Ready for it. There we go. All better now. Sorry.